Hey troops, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan. I'm a former commando from the United Kingdom. Today we're going to be reviewing some combat footage regarding Ukraine forces. They look quite specialised because of the weapon systems they've got. They're patrolling through a wood block and basically they encounter Russian forces that are also backed by a T-90 tank. So they were expecting 5 to 10 Russian soldiers on the ground in this trench system. They were patrolling towards that, obviously to actively engage and take over that bit of land because they felt that they could with the manpower and their expertise, their skill set, their kit and equipment. They obviously felt that they could take them on and beat them in that scenario. What they actually found is when they came through that woodblock, they were engaged, and it was estimated up to 30 soldiers on the Russian side were fighting back, and they obviously had a tank that they weren't expected. So things get quite intense in this. I have reviewed the footage slightly to make sure that it's friendly for YouTube, so there's no problems there, guys. And yeah, we're going to break this down in a semi-tactical way and see what they're doing, give a little bit of an explanation from my perspective as a soldier of what actually is going on the ground here, guys. It's fascinating footage. Make sure you stay around to the end, troops. It's really, really good indeed. So here we go. Footage by International Legion. Heavy firefight with Russian forces backed by a T-90 tank in Bakhmut. We understand it's been a bit of a meat grinder in this area over the past few weeks, guys. International Legion fighters and Ukrainian forces on a mission to push back the Russian line so the Ukrainian military could go back in and take it. Ah, okay. The men were on their way to find a trench system, so they don't know exactly where it is by the looks of it. Let me have a look quickly here of what's going on. So just to give you guys a little bit more of an understanding, we've got a guy who's obviously the camera's facing on. We've got someone in front of him patrolling probably about 10-15 meters ahead of him. We've got a guy here who's quite camouflaged, you know, you can't really see that well. Again, evenly distanced, probably is about 50 feet or something in front of him. Wouldn't surprise me if there was another guy, point man, a little bit further up there into the tree line where we can't see. Maybe there's a couple of guys behind as well. So that's like a snake patrol formation, whatever you want to call it. In a nutshell, they're going in one direction. They're patrolling out. They're staggered in terms of their distances, and you're not going to be walking directly behind each other. You're going to be, you know, you're going to be semi-staggered out to a degree. And the reason for that is if you come under enemy fire from the left or right, i.e. a rocket, an RPG, a machine gun or a grenade, you're going to be aiming at all of them. You're going to aim at one person unless it's an ambush. So worst case scenario, you aim to maybe take out one or two people, and that's how you kind of mitigate the odds against you, by spreading out and dominating the land. You might have 8 guys on the ground who can cover, you know, 100, 200 feet. And dominate that ground. You can give the perception that you control a lot more of that area than you actually do. And it's also a safety aspect to mitigate taking the whole team out effectively if a grenade hit. If you're all close together, that one grenade well and truly could take everyone out, just for context. What they didn't know was that they were about to encounter roughly 20 to 30 Russian soldiers in a heavy fortified trench system. So my guess is they were heavily outnumbered in this. In the case of where I've come from, the military, we would break contact. Okay, if we came under contact from an overwhelming amount of fire, and in terms of, you know, the actively being engaged from more people with heavier weapon systems or whatever, we would break contact, we would get heavy fire downrange to cover our movement, and then we'd start getting the hell out of there. There's no point fighting a force that's bigger than you. You need to live to fight another day, okay? Just after their point man looked to see if he could see anything, they got into heavy contact with Russian element and began to return fire. So their point man, really, really important job this. The point man actually, you know, you're keeping eyes out for the entire section or troop or unit, whatever it is that's moving throughout the ground. Good drills by him. He's seen something. But once he's clocked the Russian forces, they were obviously watching him. They started to fire on the Ukrainian soldiers. So that tells me one thing. If he's clocked their movement and the Russian forces has responded as a result of that without him even engaging in an active gunfight, that tells me the Russians were watching them potentially anywhere, okay? Boom, shots fired. Right, what I will say, when they came under attack, and we'll show you the general direction. So they came under attack. What the Ukrainians did very well there is they instantly turned left when it was a contact left. They dropped to their knee in some form of cover, and they started actively engaging in the general direction. At this point, you don't know exactly where they are, so you need to be able to fire in the general direction with the intention of showing the enemy forces that you are actively engaging them, okay, and to suppress their fire potentially, which would hinder their movement, especially if they're going to try and push forward. So what makes this very interesting, that wood line in which they were patrolling is quite open. Now you look left, i.e. they were contacted left, that wood block seems to densen up quite significantly 50 to 100 feet to the left of their position. So that tells me one thing. If the Russians were the ones who actively engaged first, as soon as the point man made eye contact with them, which it did, that tells me that this could potentially, it's a trench system, but they were keeping a lookout. All right. This sounds like it's not an ambush per se, but it kind of is. If you think of it, it's just a fortified ambush area. If you've got troops moving through this ground without you knowing, that trench system is elongated along that wood line, which it clearly is. You've got guys watching out all the time for this patrol. It's kind of like an ambush, okay, in a way. That's what I'm saying. And you can't really see the enemy. So that's what makes this very, very unique in terms of that patrol. Ukrainian soldiers being quite unlucky in this scenario, guys, okay? Right, I think the enemy fire from the way the ground was coming up there, I think it's coming... It's in and around this direction here. I know that's quite a big area when you push back further. It's around this area where they're being contacted from. It's dense, but it's not too dense to be able to see through. So around there is got to be where it's coming from, troops. That's just my opinion anyway. So they need to aim. Yeah, he's aiming in that direction now. You see a little bit of movement, actually. Tiny bit of movement in and around this region here. It's going to be hard because the trench system is obviously underground. Okay, so you're digging in, so you might only be seeing the top of the helmets. Really, really unlucky for the Ukrainians to fight in this scenario. There, you can see.
Hey, they're over there! Hey, over there! Hey, 11 o'clock, 11...
Yeah, he's telling them where they're fighting from. Troops, 100%, it is this area here. 100%, that's where the enemy fire is coming on. So what I would like to see happening now is these guys here, if they, I mean, they're not going to understand quite straight away how many fighting forces their opposition is in terms of, you know, the original contingent was believed to be 5 to 10. I don't know how they're going to figure it out, how many they're fighting against. One, you'll be able to tell by the sound of the enemy fire, i.e. how many guns it seems like there is. But as soon as they get wind that there's too many, they should break contact and get the hell out of there, guys. There's no point in pushing a fortified position with more people, you know, and especially the fact that there's potentially a tank here, you know. So it's very dangerous for them. I'd like to see them get a little bit more fire down, i.e. a good 30 seconds blast. Bang, 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 bang. Really heavy. Pepper that position really heavily, get a couple of grenades in there, and then start peeling back, okay, in their fire teams, back, and get the hell out of there, man. That's what I want to see now. Whoa, okay, I didn't see that in the review on it. So that's obviously the tank. A tank or a grenade or something is just smashed past that position, or it doesn't look as if it's directly hit. That if it was a tank, that would have destroyed that area. So I'm guessing a grenade of some sort from this immediate area. Yeah, now is time to peel back, guys. Honestly. The Russian trench. The Russian trench was backed by a T-90 tank, so the men decided to break contact. Exactly what I've been saying. Good drills. Nice. This guy here is obviously getting suppressive fire down as his guys move back. What I would like to see is a little bit more organisation in terms of how they are peeling back, but good drills nonetheless. They're doing the right thing, getting out of there under accurate returning, semi-accurate returning fire. Yeah, you got a couple of guys. So this section was it was a much bigger contingent. You got a guy behind a tree getting fire down. We got a guy over to the left here. Yeah, I'm impressed with this.
Good. Over there! 11 o'clock!
This guy who we're watching does seem quite switched on. The tactics in which and the words in which he's saying in this situation, it gives me the inkling of a bit of British training. I'm just going to say that, all right? I'll let you guys think of that, but it is understood that Great Britain is helping train a number of Ukraine's forces, and some of the isms that's coming out of his mouth, it sounds very British to me, okay? The whole magazine, which is what you'd say when you're changing a magazine, 11 o'clock, the clock rear method to identify potential positions where the enemy's firing from, and the way he's dictating the ground, it's very British to me, honestly. I'd like to see them getting a move on now, especially the fact that there's a tank involved. Now, it says from the footage there appears that the men could not get a clear angle to fire at the tank, and also their cover was very limited. So I agree. But if that is the case, they need to just start moving. I would be shifting now. Okay, there's not that much fire coming their way. They've getting the shots off. They don't want to keep on letting them know where they're retreating to. Okay, because what could happen is the Russians could redirect their fire. They could maybe get a flank on the go. Once you've getting an effective baseline down and you're starting to move quick and you're getting a couple of guys suppressing, you need to be moving, all right? You need to be shifting now. This whole evolution needs to be happening very, very quickly. So while it may look like they were properly equipped to deal with the situation due to a large number of anti-tank weapons, the decision to fall back was definitely the right one. I agree entirely. It doesn't matter the fact that they had an anti-tank weapon to be able to push on and take that that battle tank off the map. It's the risk factors involved. All right, they're up against a larger, overwhelming fighting force, so they need to get out and learn to live and fight for another day. What they have getting from this, and this is really, really important, they've got intelligence now that this position is more fortified than they previously thought. So if they want to come back and tackle this, maybe it's on a nighttime operation is something I would advise. With a larger contingent, you need a fire support on one flank, and you need a battle team going in to take the whole trench system, and then you need a whole team in reserve, all right, depending on how many people is involved. But if it's 30 people, we would like to double or treble that. So we would be sending in, 60 people easy for that. More. Okay, you'd have a fire support on the right with heavy machine guns, you'd have artillery and mortars potentially, and then you go and push that. But 30 men, that's quite a built-up space, guys, and that's a large operation, okay, and that should be taken as one. So this isn't a failing, this is a success if they can get out there with no one being injured and get that intelligence to be able to live to fight another day.
Say, you see what happened on this?
He's took the word right out. Honestly, I haven't read this. At least they were able to collect valuable intel about their opponent's real strength and spotted a high-value target for further operations. Yeah, 100%, guys.
Straight in, like, over there, but there's bushes, mate. You ain't going to be able to do it.
I would like to see a lot more urgency as well. Whoa, see that fire over there, troops? Happening right about here. It's way off in terms of where it needs to be, but that's got to be the tank. All right, firing quite a lot of munitions, heavy munition, explosives on that position. It's dangerous. I'd like to see these guys here getting the hell out. All right, move quick. It's easy for me to sit here and say it, but I know that's what my section commanders would be saying to me if I was in this situation. Move, get out. All right, this needs to happen pretty damn quickly. The heavy use of AT launchers made sense in this situation since it signaled that they were capable to counter armoured vehicles, and firing the rockets effectively decreased the weight they had to carry. Right. I have to disagree with that from a professional standpoint. We would... Forget about the weight. You're carrying it, right? You're a professional soldier. You're capable of doing that. That's what we'd be saying. We're not ditching weight just for the sake of it, all right? We might encounter on that break contact another bloody tank, all right? So what are you going to do then? So that's a bad decision. That you don't just fire them off just to say, look, oh yeah, we've got these, and it shows that we're capable. Russia knows that they're capable, all right? They know that they have that capability anyway. So they're not worried about that. And you want to be able to have your weapon systems in good fighting order with the right munitions in case you bloody get counterattacked as you're patrolling back. Doing this here. What happens if they need them, as they're peeling back? You never ditch weight for the sake of it, all right? You never ditch an ammo. Certainly not. Certainly not these AT launchers. I have to massively disagree with that. Chat, get some comments below how you feel. Combat veterans, let me know how you feel. If you're currently serving or if you know a lot about the military, how do you feel about what I've just said there? Hey, what do I know? I was a professional soldier at one point. Guess what? I disagree with that. Absolutely.
Hey, Greg! Hey, come on! Who's that there? You going to get...
And, you know, the what they're using to fire at that, it's a dense woodland and they haven't really got accurate eyes on that tank. So the chance of that hitting is slim. You know, the chance of it hitting a tree is high. You know, are they going to be able to distinguish whether or not that was a launcher or a grenade? Silly decision in my opinion. Right, fantastic bit of footage that, and I'm glad that it's appropriate for one, so we can do it on here. I have got a couple of videos that I'm going to be putting out that are unable to on YouTube. I'm going to be putting that on Patreon very, very soon, guys. So look forward to that. If you want to join the Patreon, then please consider doing it. It's where I put all of my uncensored ad-free content. So look forward to that. If you're already a member, thank you guys for supporting the channel. If you like these tactical breakdowns, please consider liking the videos. Bit of news, right? I've got a bit of traction in the influencer boxing space. You guys know that's something I've wanted to do for a long time. I know that a lot of guys on here don't really support it. That's fine, but it's something that I want to do, and I've managed to get a bit of headway. Okay, I've been in touch with, I don't know if it's okay or if it's cool to mention this guy yet, because I don't want to get him into trouble or anything like that. Once I know if it's okay to mention that, yeah, he's passed my name about and stuff, I will definitely be doing that. But he's quite a prominent figure in the YouTube scene. I'm a massive fan of his anyways, for what he does for boxing in general. So yeah, when the time is right, hopefully we get some good news, guys. But you know what, we are making a bit of progress in that circle, and I really want to get involved, man. I really do. So if you are, if you're up for that, drop a comment below. Let me know if you're looking forward to seeing me hopefully fight in a boxing ring soon. But I generally think it's going to happen sooner than later, troops. But make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one, troops. Peace.